They only scored 14 points a game last year. You have to imagine that's going to improve, particularly with a player like this in their outfit. Of all the star signings, he is the real face of this new era, Josh Addo-Carr.
Yeah, he can finish with the best of them. This guy can turn half a chance into a try just through his sheer speed and footwork and acceleration. We've seen it in the Melbourne Storm for New South Wales over a long period of time. And if he can get connected with Matt Duffy and Matt Burton on this strong left edge, partnered up with Naden and Pangai Jr., that's definitely a side that they should go.
The headgear belying the new blonde hair for Matt Burton. He could be confused with the lead singer of The Offspring, but don't worry about the look. It's all about the quality that he produces on a regular basis, and plenty of halves experience in his brief time at the Panthers.
And the Dogs' halves over the last few years have been unsure. They haven't been confident enough to steer the ship of the Bulldogs. In big moments, they've come up with some poor options. But this kid's proven in his short career that he loves the big moments. Grand final winger last year. He will bring some spice to the Bulldogs' attack, but also some experience as well.
The Cronulla Sharks just missed the finals last year. Will Kennedy now just moving off screen, Blake Brayley, but this man, a lot of expectation. He was so good for the Melbourne Storm last year. And as I said, with the move comes expectation for Nicho Hynes.
There's a few question marks around Nicho and playing the number 7 jersey, but we saw in the All-Stars game, this kid is confident, no matter what number he's got on his back. The Melbourne Storm, he was sensational through that middle part, and I think Craig Fitzgibbon is very confident this halfback can do a job for his team this year.
Played in the halves 3 times last year for Melbourne in a fill-in role. They won all 3 and hardly skipped a beat. Dale Finucane. Now, that is a signing that should make a significant difference to this Sharks outfit. This
is a guy that loves the contact, loves the physical stuff, loves the hard edge part of the game, and he is prepared with an inch of his life in every game. So Dale Finucane is one tough hombre.
Now we're about to take a moment's silence here with the passing of Johnny Raper, the funeral today. Dragons legend, but of course coached here at Cronulla for a couple of years in the 1970s, Johnny Raper.
New South Wales and Australia with distinction, while also coached the Sharks' first grade side in 1975 and 1976. The Cronulla Sharks offers its sincerest condolences to Johnny Raper's family and his many, many friends. Please be upstanding for a moment's silence as we remember Rugby League immortal Johnny Raper. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Sent off in style today at the Sydney Cricket Ground, Johnny Raper. So we're about to begin, and we welcome back an old friend. It's nice to be here at Shark Park, now called PointsBet Stadium. It's been a long time since the Sharks have called this place home. And there's been some major changes. We'll touch on that during the broadcast, but here we go. It's Cronulla and Canterbury, and a lot of new faces in blue and white, including Paul Vaughan, and he smashed in the tackle here. He was in terrific form for the Dragons before his untimely exit with a couple of months to go in the season of 2021. Luke Thompson's run followed up by Josh Jackson. Grand finalist for the Dogs, 2012, 2014. Thompson again, barging up over his 30. Jeremy Marshall-King, we'll hope for a much kinder season injury-wise as Burton gets a deep kick downfield. And it's Sione Katoa who brings it back for the home side. So on our way here, in pretty pleasant conditions considering the miserable weather up and down the east coast of Australia, and all of you at southeast Queensland and northern New South Wales, we're thinking of you. It is a wretched time, and hopefully we can give you a bit of a distraction over the next couple of hours. As Finucane, early ball for Andrew Fafita. Oh, wonderful to see him back. Played the All-Stars game and lining up for his 13th season. Finucane rolling the sleeves up. As Cronulla get inside Canterbury territory with Hines putting some height on that kick. And our first look at Josh Addo-Carr. And he's met by a Sharks welcoming committee.
He's only had one touch, Matt Burton, but it was the kick, and that's one area that the Bulldogs have let themselves down over the last couple of years is their kicking game. And with his first touch, a nice long left foot boot down this left touch allows the Bulldogs to get the ball back and get in this arm wrestle.
This is an old Bulldog, Jaden Ockenball. We'll be playing it to Marshall King. Oh, Thompson, he's coming out all guns blazing, and there's an offload. As Marshall King sends it on to Averillo, who can run. Cut down. Trindle in the tackle along with Finucane. Good clean-up work from Dale. Good energy about this game, and now much closer is Burton. Gives it plenty of height. Addo-Carr chasing, and he ran into Ramian. And Addo-Carr is the man who is penalised. Just a little push and shove. Players burning off a bit of energy. Well, that was imposing the way Addo-Carr was pouring through. Well, that's interesting that Addo-Carr didn't lay a glove there on Sione Katoa.
Addo-Carr's complaining or arguing the fact that Ramian has actually made contact and pushed Addo-Carr into contact, which has made Katoa come down and get the penalty. So it'd be interesting to see what the ref does here, but he's pretty confident that he's going to stick to his guns.
Time off. Time off, yeah. Yep.
So pause in play here.
Yep. Tavita. You don't need to be here, Paul, so it doesn't concern you. Josh. They reviewed it. Tavita, you've made contact with the head. It's on report.
Oh dear. You have to rewind the tape and have a look at what's happened in back play. Tavita Pangai Jr. Okay. Okay. What do you say, Coop?
Nah, nothing. I don't think he's made forceful contact to the back of the head there. I think he's trying to compete in the tackle. I think he'll be all right.
Pangai almost, dare I say, pinched a premiership at Penrith. That short stint there, but unfortunately for him, picked up a knee injury just before the grand final. It's still a successful detour to Penrith before coming to Canterbury. That's a strong run from Braden Hamlin-Uele, getting Cronulla into Canterbury territory. Blake Brayley, Dale Finucane, Nico Hines, Will Kennedy on the run. Now Jesse Ramian holding Naden at bay. It was Burton who came across to make the tackle. Hines delivering for Fafita. And this now, when this is played, will signal the last tackle. Finucane first receiver. Braden Trindle, oh, in trouble, but bouncing, and now finally succumbs.
Yeah, Braden Trindle didn't realise it was fifth tackle, but one thing the Sharks did well last year is they promoted the ball. They were confident in their ability to pass the ball and move it well. And the key injection in the back line is William Kennedy. He's outstanding last year for the Sharks, and a little spark there on the right edge. Look good as Nico Hines picks up a mistake from the Dogs.
Let's see what the Cronulla side can do now as Ramian carving back to the middle. Just happy to take the tackle. Cronulla a full set from 20 metres out. So Canterbury, who not only struggled to score last year, but they conceded plenty. A good early test for their defence. It's a slow play the ball from Hamlin-Uele. Hines back on the inside. Oh, heavy contact there. Marshall King collecting Finucane high.
That's a good temperament there from Nicho Hynes. He had his 5'8" and fullback swinging around to his right-hand side to slow play the ball. So he actually just dishes off and goes back into Dale Finucane to reset. Obviously the penalty was given away, but Nicho Hynes, good temperament, knew that the play wasn't onto the right, wanted to reload and set back to the left.
So they start again, Cronulla, with Fafita first to play the ball here for Brayley. Now that might have been cut down by a Bulldog, towed ahead by Trindle, who then got entangled with Burton. Plenty to look back at there, but the referee is just quite happy to let Dufty bring it out and Canterbury survive. So we say hello as we watch Josh Addo-Carter. Jake Duke, who's on the sideline. Hello, Jake.
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm probably going to jinx myself here, but thankfully no rain at the moment, as you said, Dan, but it is a little bit slippery and wet down here, and as you can imagine, not much wind for either team to contend with as well, as we get our first glimpse of these new-look sides. A couple of thousand fans in the crowd as well, and as you mentioned, it is the first time the Sharks faithful have seen their side at home since all the way back in round 24-19, so they're grateful to have them back. Let's see if it leads to some wins this season.
Oh, you've absolutely jinxed it, Jake. This is the rain belt of Sydney. Just this patch of land seems to cop rain, even when the rest of Sydney is barren. You've tempted the gods there. Good set from Canterbury as Katoa now. Missed a couple of months with a knee injury last year, as he's ordered to play the ball. And here's the other winger, Ronaldo Mulatalo. Broken jaw ended his season a couple of weeks prematurely. Now Wade Graham. Let's hope he can get through this year unscathed after some head knocks of the last couple of years. Hynes kicking before the last. And he's turned Addo-Carter around. He's got Dufty on his outside and brings Dufty in. But Dufty can't escape the tidy chase of Britton Nakora.
You pause that, Matt. Back, play the ball. Hold!
One of the few teams Canterbury has had success over in the last few years as Ockenball gets a bit fancy is Cronulla, but now Canterbury have got a problem. Well, that was just a dog's breakfast, and Cronulla get a scrum 10 metres out.
And we heard in the pre-game from coach Trent Barrett, he's got experience and connection on that left-hand side through some of the new recruits, but on that right-hand side, it's inexperience. It's Ockenball with the offload. And Avarillo then tries to dish it off to Shoop to deal with it, and that's where the issue comes from. Don't make it any harder than it already has to be. Dive on the ball, reset, and kick the ball back to the opposition.
Well, more defensive pressure for the Dogs to endure here. So Trindle, who won't be available for the first couple of rounds, feeds a scrum, gets it back off Brayley, goes for the line and scores! Braden Trindle, first points of the night belong to the Sharks.
And it was a scrum play from centre field after the error from the Bulldogs. And this is here's the error going back to Ockenball offloading. Ends up giving the Sharks the best attacking set they've had so far in this game. And these are plays that work all summer long. Trindle wanted to go to the left-hand side to Hynes, but the physicality of Braden Trindle running the football gets rid of Avarillo and Marshall King and scores the first try this evening.
Obviously that number 6 jersey destined to be worn by Matt Moylan. He's fine. He's been put in the biggest vat of cotton wool you can imagine heading into round 1. But the way Craig Fitzgibbon was talking to the team back at the Clive Churchill studio, it seems like this man Trindle might be destined for the 14 jersey in 2022. And a little taste of what he can do there.
Yeah, I think that's the way the game's going. You need versatility on the bench. One, to cover a few positions, but also to have speed and footwork through the middle third. Once fatigue gets set into the game, you see the guys like Isaiah Yeo, Radley, and Kurt Mann at Newcastle. There's teams that are doing it. Nicho Hynes did it for the Melbourne Storm last year, so I think that's where Coach Fitzgibbon's looking at.
A role that had been filled by Connor Tracy, but he seems now destined to spend the season in the centres. A nice easy one here for Nicho Hynes. And Cronulla cashing in on some early field position domination. 6 points to 0, Jake Duke.
Yeah, Braden Trindle had 18 games last year, chipped him at 11 try and assists. He can be very big weapon for the Sharks. But as I mentioned, they are home at PointsBet Stadium this year, and with a new coach, quality new recruits, and a crop of exciting young stars to return, it's time to secure your Sharks memberships. Be here in 2022 and help turn PointsBet Stadium into a fortress. Plenty of membership options available, so visit sharks.com.au now to get your tickets.
Yeah, good on you, Jake. We saw the value today of having a membership. Talk of Parramatta locking out their stadium to members only for a couple of big games this year. So, well, it pays to be a member of your club as Fafita, a rumbling run to start things off, followed up by Mulatalo. Cronulla actually, even though it's great to have them back here at home, had a pretty good record at Cogra. 9 wins and 6 losses the last couple of seasons, so 60%, pretty acceptable. We'll be hoping for better, though, on their home deck. Hamlin Uele got past Jackson and Thompson down low, Pangai up top. Hines on the run, the cutout ball for Ramian. Oh, Addo-Carr's jolted it free just when it looked like it could have been a problem for Canterbury.
That's the experience and the physicality that Josh Addo-Carr has brought to his game defensively for a long period of time. And you've just seen a little bit of the reward for recruiting him. The ability to read, have a head on a swivel, and make tough contact on Ramian.
Jack Hetherington in the unfamiliar 11 jersey has played a sprinkling of games in the second row for the Warriors, namely a couple of games for them. He's trained there all off season. There's Marshall King for Jackson. Bit of room down the middle. Cut down 20 metres away, and experience. He manages to draw the penalty. So now we get to see Canterbury with their shining new attack. Now go on the attack here with a full set from 20 metres out.
Yeah, we're about to find out who's the boss of the Bulldogs attack, Burton or Avarillo. I expect to see Josh Jackson involved at sort of first receiver to sort of open up the field for his halves.
So Pangai laying a line to start things off. Burton on the right, but on the left rather, but it goes to Vaughan on the right. So just a couple of settlers. There's Marshall King. Jackson now Avarillo. There's, Etherington ran over Dale Finucane. You don't see that often. Stopped short by Kennedy. Now it comes across. Avarillo switching sides. There's Naden caught short by Hines. 6 more tackles. Avarillo, Vaughan was averaging over 130 metres a game last year before his time at the Dragons ended. And Luke Thompson, he's come out fired up. The offload again. Dufty. Oh, Shop steaming onto it. The Sharks somehow stop it. They open up the left. Dufty to Marshall King now. Thompson again. Tough work for Brayley. Got some help from Nakora. Marshall King almost. A little bobble there, but all clear. Cronulla have done well. Avarillo, Burton, that has ricocheted. Katoa. Oh, he's turned on a dime, but now finally concedes.
Nice little combo work there from Avarillo and Burton. Short passes to one another. Burton's just got a nice feel for the game and a good touch with that left boot down the left corner. So they're trying to find that rhythm. Nice couple of passes, Josh Jackson being involved. Dufty's the ace. Dufty is the ace in the pack. If he can get more involved 2 passes wide, he's got the ability to strike through himself, but he's got that sweet pass over the top to hit the winger.
So Wade Graham coming off with a noticeable hobble there. Get Jake to keep an eye on that. Not the tidiest pass from Avarillo, but we continue. And the Sharks, they open their season against Canberra on a Friday night. So, what, 11, 12 days? As Avarillo, Pangai with room to run. That's come off a Shark and dropped by Katoa anyway. But it does stop Canterbury, even though they do get to reload.
Yeah, he saw something on the outside. He felt some space there to Vita Pangai. If the ball gets to Addo-Carr, he's a chance in the corner. But we heard from Trent Barrett before the game, he wants Tavita Pangai Jr. to be more physical a lot of short passes on Nico Hines or Jesse Ramian. Use his size and physicality to get in this contest.
Well, no, Dr. Coop, that doesn't look all that bad, but we will wait for the official report. So now Canterbury have had 57% of the ball, but it's Cronulla with the lead. You know it's a bad feed when the referee says do it again.
Or he's telling you how to do it.
Come on, head down. Head in well. Ball in.
You can see Averillo jumping out. And he's going to have a little dart, which he does so often.
Back foot, back foot.
Hetherington. 3 to stop him. Hetherington wants to get up quickly. Here's Averillo as Jackson pounding it down the centre. Burton is on the left as it comes right to Averillo. Dufty, the floater. Ockenbaugh, but so many defenders there. And Ockenbaugh goes to ground. So 2 tackles left. Dufty just catching and passing. Marshall King floating. Jackson running. So it comes down to this final play. As Averillo, Burton. Oh, it just opens up for Matt Burton. First try as a Bulldog. And you get the sense we're going to see a lot of that over 2022.
Yeah, good work from the new recruit. Again, it was Averillo and Burton just teaming up on a short left-hand side, short pass amongst one another. But there it was, Tavita Pangai Jr. straight up and down inside Brayley's shoulders. The big man got him held just for a second, and that allowed the speed of Burton just to burn him on the outside and score the first try for the Dogs.
So Burton has done most of the kicking, particularly the attacking kicking, and the Sharks thought he was going to kick again.
Let's give a rap to Averillo and Burton. Yeah, they've obviously been doing some reps at training. Averillo's been sort of under pressure and the main man at the Dogs for a long time. But he's teamed up nicely with Burton in his first stanza. Down the left-hand side, he's got Dufty on the right. So Averillo really liking the fact that he can go down a short left-hand side with Tavita Pangai Jr. running straight and hard at an inside shoulder, and the silky skills of Matt Burton out the back of shape.
It is a dark art, the art of signing players on potential. Matt Burton, I couldn't say he was an unknown when the Bulldogs got him, but now he looks like an absolute steal. 2-year deal with a 3rd-year option. They'll be very, very comfortable with this acquisition. And you got the little addition of goal kicking as well. I believe he was Penrith's top try scorer last year. So you got all the tries he can set up, and then he can finish as well. Fairness, they had to score soon, Canterbury, didn't they? Given all the attack they had. And it's a lovely strike. So we're all tied up here at PointsBet Stadium. Jake Duke.
Yeah, Matt Burton gets a try there for the Bulldogs. He's got a knack of scoring tries when he's playing in the 5/8 position. That's 8 tries in 7 starts now while wearing the number 6, and we know what a season he had playing in the centres for Penrith last year, taking out centre of the year alongside Justin Olam. But we've just got a little bit of an update on Wade Graham. We saw him hobble off before. The good news is it has nothing to do with the head issues he's had. It's a left ankle. They think there, you see it just get caught underneath the tackle there. He's hobbled off. Very unlikely to return tonight, obviously, because it is a good trial. But I guess the silver lining is nothing to do with the concussion battles that kept him out last year.
Okay, thank you, Jake Duke. Yeah, he's got till Friday week when they take on Canberra in an excellent game, actually, on the first of the Friday night games for 2022. It's a very even matchup down there in the capital. Well, shaping is an even matchup as Thompson got through some work. Jackson. And we've got a problem with the play the ball. As we approach the midway point of this first half, Cronulla will get their first opportunity in It seems quite some time.
And this is deja vu for the Dog supporters because almost every time last year you said they didn't score a lot of points, but when they did, they weren't able to capitalise and control momentum. Gave away a penalty, turned the ball over. They've done exactly the same thing. Rule number one after score points, kick the ball back.
Oh, that's a delightful pass from Haminuele. Nakora almost going through. Burton could be in trouble here. And he's conceded the penalty, but that's it. So no great expense for Canterbury. It was the first tackle anyway. Did well to cut Nakora down, but just obviously staying on a touch long. He joined the Sharks in 2018. As he plays it for Braylon. Now for Trindle. On to Hines. Oh, cut out ball, and Ockenbaugh steaming in and burying Tracy. Unfortunately for the Cronulla centre, the ball went backwards. Now for Nukin. Into Vaughan. Shot down the low. Thompson helping. Slow play the ball. Short side play. Oh, a little gamble here from Trindle. Duffy, in fact, it's Shop. Nonchalant, but does enough.
That's clever there from Trindle. It was a slow play of the ball, and Matt Duffy, as we'll have a drinks break here halfway through, it was actually very smart from Trindle because Duffy, as they do on the goal line, fullbacks call the numbers and set players to the other side, to the long side where the biggest threat was. And he sent the back rower, made Duffy defend in the line, and Trindle saw it. Little kick through and almost got there.
Good contest on this Monday night. We suspected it would be 6 points apiece. You see Josh Adokar doing a fair bit of talking.
And this is what Adokar brings to the team. You think about the Bulldogs when they've been under pressure at different stages. They always look around at each other. No one that's really dominated the competition. And when you have Adokar telling you what to do in moments, people start lifting. They recognise it. And this man too, he's been great. His first kick was a nice high percentage kick down the side, and then he's just been peppering the Sharks' right edge every time he gets a chance, and he scored the first try. And this was nice, sliced straight through. So we've already seen some signs of the big off-season recruits bringing some positivity to the Dogs.
You know, it's a cliche, Cooper, to talk about, you know, teams, new teams, and this is a new team, let's be honest. Certainly a very new backline for Canterbury. We need to give them time to gel. We saw some nice exchanges between Averillo and Burton there. Averillo switching sides once or twice. Realistically, in the professional era, how long can we give? How much grace before we can say, all right, Canterbury, they should be, whatever they are, they should be at their peak at this point? Well,
it's hard because time is the amount of work you're willing to put in. If you're just willing to put in 30 minutes a day, then it'll take long. But if you've got the work ethic to, you know, review your combinations, put it training paddock work, then you can bring that quickly. So, yeah, look, they've got to get the reps, the games. But yeah, I expect the Dogs to be up and running. Give them 8 weeks.
7 runs apiece from Luke Thompson and Paul Vaughan. So plenty of miles in the legs for those two. Fafita. He's been terrific, Andrew Fafita. His 6th run, and they've all had purpose. This is Teague Wilton, who's been a rising star. The boy from Narooma. Brayley waits. Here's for Nukin. On to Hines. There's Nakora down the middle. And Britton Nakora strolling through. And there's signs that Hines and Nakora are forming a lovely duo.
Yeah, Nakora's got a history of being a really tough running back rower. And we've just seen, we know the Sharks can shift the ball. They did it well last year. Dale Finucane onto Nico Hines, hits the accelerator, gets to Matt Burton. And Nakora loves the ability that he can just run straight up and down and have a good ball player with smart hands and nice touch in Nico Hines to send him through. But that, Craig Fitzgibbon would be absolutely wrapped with the combination work of Nico Hines in this first period.
When Sean Johnson and Nakora were together, that was a very profitable duo for this Sharks outfit. Johnson's gone, of course. That's a good sign there. Nakora bounced back last year. He has freely admitted he suffered second-year syndrome back in 2020, but was close to his best in 2021.
Coming through the juniors in his first stint in the NRL, he was a damaging back row. He loved the contact. He was not shy in trying to run through the inside shoulder of a little half or an edge back rower. And that work with Nicho Hynes was beautiful.
So a couple of easy ones here for Nicho Hynes. And that makes it Cronulla 12, Canterbury 6 as we take you down to Jake Dew.
Yeah, Nicho Hynes, a little try assist there to start his career in the halves here at Cronulla. He's only played 3 games in the halves starting in the NRL, and he gets a nice little ball there to Britton Nakora. He's one of only 4 players to have 30 line break assists and 25 try assists in the competition last year. So that gives you an idea of how creative he is with the ball. And just while the Cronulla went over there is a little bit of bad news, as we touched on before. Wade Graham is getting dressed in the sheds. He is ruled out of this game, which is a really sad end to what was his comeback match, his first match in over 9 months. But hopefully that ankle issue isn't too bad.
Okay, thank you, Jake. So Cronulla now 2 tries on the board. As Fafita getting into it with Aaron Shop, and now Brayley chiming in as well. Doesn't take much to light the fuse of Andrew Fafita, and Shop was a willing participant.
Yeah, the Cronulla players were calling shoulder charges. Shop and Fafita came together. So it'll be interesting to see the replay of what happens here. So Brayley, Trindle all pointing at it.
So that's obviously the aftermath of whatever has set Fafita off. Encouraging stuff though for him.
He comes down, there's contact there with the forearm on the head on the ground. That's what causes it, and that causes the reaction. That's a penalty score there, Josh.
So there's a penalty to Cronulla here, so they had a case there, the Sharks. They had to make the point. Encouraging stuff for Fafita. We all know about the horror incident at Redcliffe last year, which almost had catastrophic circumstances. He only played 6 games up to that point, but played in the All-Stars game, and he's looked strong tonight. Cronulla back inside Canterbury territory. Finucane into Jackson. Finucane, of course, 3 years at the Dogs. And he's not going to get a penalty here. And Canterbury get off lightly.
Ball up. Box on.
And a couple of grand finals for the Blue and Whites with Josh Jackson, the man who was in that tackle. Jackson may have had a little helping hand there, but
just a bit of insight on Dale Finucane. Played a bit of football with him, and they called him Johnny Rambo because he's prepared with an inch of his life every time, and he was willing to do whatever it took to win a small, medium, or a big contest. So the experience of what he would bring to the Sharks pack is done through Monday to Friday. He's a workhorse during the game, but I think to get a reward out of his signing from Monday to Friday.
Tell you what, of all movie characters to have as a nickname, that's a pretty damn good one. John Rambo. Changes starting here for Canterbury. That's Max King, who didn't play first grade last year at the Storm. An Achilles injury made a mess of his year. And Canterbury with another repeat set here. They've had a few of these. There's Marshall King, another who was injury affected. Only a handful of games. Foot injuries in 2021. Now Averillo. Back to Hetherington. 3 again needed to bring him down. King the decoy. Jackson the first receiver. And it comes away here, and well, that comes to an end for the Dogs.
2 touches that Josh Jackson would want to have back, because that time was good shape outside him. He had Dufty, Averillo and Burton all swinging outside on the left-hand side. The ball had to get out the back to Averillo.
So Canterbury really at this very early point favour their left side. Of course, that's where Burton is. They've got the option of Duffy on the right for Theta. Good innings from him. And the number 24 here for Cronulla, Tom Hazelton. Now, contact after the kick as the players clear away.
Out together! Only way!
Just been given indication, Cooper, that Braden Hamlin-Uele has just been put on report as a third man in. So we've got Tavita Pangai Jr. on report, and that man, Braden Hamlin-Uele, is on report as well. Here's Pangai Jr. So good at offloading. Made to order there for Marshall King, and now Dufty. Finucane there in his way. Burton before the last. Solid bounce. Oh, that's a loose shot there. So an easy penalty to give. And now a bit of back chat from
Don't go again.
Brent
Don't go
Naden.
again. No. Nico.
Yeah, that's a poor effort there from Naden, because Matt Burton put in a nice, delicate kick down the left-hand side. And William Kennedy, not one of the bigger fullbacks in the competition, steady your feet, maybe jack him up and take him back. And all of a sudden, Dogs are starting on the front foot and be super aggressive. But the penalty, the back chat, now the Sharks are going to get into a good ball set.
Geez, first half is going quickly. 28 minutes gone. 3 tries on the board.
In that last set, there's a tackle by Braden. It's third man in. Braden at the legs. It's going to be on report. No, he's not on the field at the moment.
So that confirms Hamlin-Uele.
I'll let you know, it's captain. Oh, I was in that last set. Third man in the legs.
So going down low. Now, it's not quite the Lindsay Collins cannonball from the other night, which itself didn't bring about any suspension. So we're crossing that one off, Coop.
Oh, that's better from Pangai Jr. Look at him.
When you're getting jerseys being ripped. Oh, Pangai! You give him a rap.
Too far.
Fired up. There's Tavita Pangai. And that just bubbled up out of nothing. So these players have had to wait all weekend. They've watched all the games on Fox League, and they're now just letting off a bit of steam.
I'll grab you when I need help.
He wasn't satisfied. He wanted the jersey gone. He wasn't satisfied to rip half of it off.
He wanted a piece of that from where it go, Pangai Jr., because he took the handbrake off and just launched at Royce Hunt. And just didn't stop there. Ripped the shirt off the big fella.
Yep.
So Pangai Jr. wanted to start. I liked the intent, but then just carried on.
They'll want to replace it, but it's a trial game, Cooper. Just let him go. Yeah, and now it comes off.
Okay, so just to beat up. The old mark there.
So
Where's
another
Captain
stoppage
Josh?
here. As Hunt gets a
Are you
jersey
captain
put
with Josh
on.
off?
That needs 2 people in the background there to help while Tavita Pangai Jr. is
Been
about to
reviewed,
be
and there is
spoken
a
to.
strike from Shark. From on report, and that's in the big.
Yeah, he's gone.
That's not what I said, Paul. Tavita, I need you to go, mate. I need you to go.
It's the strike when he had a hold of the jersey.
They looked at that ball.
He's got the
and that's what
jersey
they-
with a closed
Tavita,
fist.
you need to leave the field.
And he launched back in at Hunt, and that's... Look, watch this. Watch, I think it's the right hand, just holds the jersey.
Sneaky little rabbit punch.
Now, one of those rabbit punches, but he didn't have to do that to Vita. Like,
Yeah.
he did a really good thing by having the line speed and get physical, but then the carry on after it.
I'm more than happy to put both sides in the head, okay? Easy as that. That's all it is, mate.
A bit of spice about this contest.
Yeah, there is.
Ready, ready.
A lot of these players, it's their first hit out for months.
Wait!
And out of all of that, Cronulla go back on the attack. So new jumper for Royce Hunt. I don't think he'll be confused with Wade Graham, who normally wears the 12 jumper. As Finucane over the 30. Hines. Trindle. Kennedy. Well read the Canterbury defence. Naden knocking Nakora off his feet. Quick play the ball though. A little bit of a roll on. As Mulatalo just goes down the middle. Bradley. Oh, the barge over play. Royce Hunt. Well, he got over. And he's got it down. Well, that's a sweet moment for Royce Hunt. Just a couple of minutes after having his jersey ripped apart, he slams it down.
I like the way the Sharks are playing with ball in hand. Big sweeping plays, and then they go nice and direct with Hunt. Straight through a couple of big boys. Paul Vaughan's there. King, they just can't handle him. But I like the swap and changing that the Sharks are doing with their ball play. They're swinging with the halves and a fullback. And then Brayley just comes out with a big power play back down the middle of the post. And Royce Hunt jams that ball down.
No question. Royce Hunt, best season was a couple of years ago, 2020, where he played 14 games of first grade. Only a couple last year. But he's off and running in 2022. There's Tavita Pangai Jr. You're going to take the good with the bad with Tavita Pangai Jr. You get the offloads, the big hits, but sometimes you can go a little haywire. And they're making life easy for Nico Hines with these conversions. They've all been either in front or very close to the posts. So Cronulla open up. The biggest lead of the night, 18 points to 6 off the back of a Royce Hunt try.
Yeah, it was a powerful run, and this is where it all started. There was a bit of WWE with Pangai Jr. and Royce Hunt. He's hurt his team, Pangai Jr., by being sin-binned for the carry-on. And then the first team to get back to football was the Cronulla Sharks and Royce Hunt. And he said, this is how you play physical football, by jamming the ball down under the post and going straight through the teeth of the Dogs' defence.
So Pangai Jr., he's still got some time to serve. So really testing stuff here for Canterbury in the latter stages of this first half. 24, Tom Hazelton, and that's Connor Tracy, his second run of the night. The tireless Dale Finucane, giving Cronulla fans exactly what they'd be expecting. Here's Wilton. Ooh, picked off there, Chris Patolo. With the tackle, Hazelton. And now Hines. That tackle was fine. Dufty. Hasn't been much there for Dufty in this first half. Almost tore them apart down the middle on one occasion as Ockenbaugh grinds it up to his own 30. Avarillo jumping into dummy half again. Good contact there on Shop. Shop played through injury last year and was pretty good for Canterbury, a rotator cuff injury. But now Hetherington gets a little ambitious with that attempted offload. More pressure coming.
Loving the physicality from the Sharks forwards. That time it was Hazelton. Now Hetherington doesn't take a back step. He loves it. But Hazelton, big carry off the kickoff, and then just got stuck into Hetherington. Look at this. Over the top, ball comes flying out. So the Sharks are up for this. They're really living up to the Craig Fitzgibbon mantra.
Now that's Tom Hazelton there in the 24 jersey, a prop from the Newtown Jets. Goulburn boy, Gavin Miller recommended him. He saw him, maybe the greatest Shark of them all. And Cronulla pounced. So I'm just getting word here via Jake Duke. Yeah, there you can see it. Moon boot for Wade Graham. Well, that's not a great sign. He's going to go off and get some scans, and gee, deserves a break, Wade Graham.
Thanks, Matt. Stay here.
It's been a long and distinguished career, but it's seems to be on pause at the moment.
Yeah, it's a good balance to have Wade Graham on the left and Nick Okora on the right. The powerful running of Nick Okora, but then also the ball playing of Wade Graham on the left. So let's hope he can get back and play some football.
So 13 on 13, I should add, even though Pangai Jr. is off in the trials, it is 13 on 13. So that's why you don't see the graphic up there, the yellow chip. As carving it into the line here is the number 17, Colquhoun, Jesse Colquhoun. Brayley onto Hunt, Hunt onto Trindle. Oh, hospital pass there that Kennedy did well to hold on to. Chopper's got a bit of physicality about his defence. Now Royce Hunt. It's the 20-metre line where he'll play it. One tackle left. Trying to put it into the corner here. Ockenberg, brilliant tap on by Mulatalo, and that's a wonderful try. Will Kennedy, but put that down to the winger. Ronaldo Mulatalo, and this is starting to blow out.
Absolutely put that down to the winger. The ball goes up. Trina would have liked it a little bit over Ockenball's head, so it's a little bit straighter. But the desire, the want, the determination. Mulatalo, it doesn't matter what block was in the road, he found a way through, got his mid up there, and William Kennedy, good things happen around William Kennedy. He is just the everywhere man for the Cronulla Sharks. He is a footy player, this kid.
Well, not only was he their player of the year in 2021 and had 16 try assists, he was also their #1 try scorer. He had 14 of them. And, look at the joy on Ronaldo Mulatalo. To see the Sharks with their regular wingers, Katoa and Mulatalo, back in action.
And he didn't have to do that then. Like Connor Tracy, a smaller centre, probably wasn't going to get the height over the top. But because he just wanted that competitive spirit, Mulatalo gets his hand up. And William Kennedy, you know, he was a shining light last year for the Sharks, as you just mentioned, but he's looked good to start this first half.
Probably the hardest shot of the night for Nico Hines. You can see on the right of screen part of the new development. It's like a new city behind us here in Woolooware in the Shire. And you can see with our regular shot the development going on with the Leagues Club. Hines nurses it through. So 24 points to 6. Jake Duke.
Yeah, Will Kennedy, you mentioned what a year he had last year, taking out the Sharks Player of the Year, but he was only actually given the medal, the Porter Gallen medal, this week in front of coaches and teammates and corporates here at the club, because obviously the Sharks were away in Brisbane, in Queensland, in the camp last year. So a career year for Will Kennedy, nominated for fullback of the year as well, along with the likes of Tom Trbojevic and James Tedesco. So it just shows how well he's going. But don't forget, boys, NRL 360 returns very soon. Braith is in the big chair. Kenty fired up. March 7, it's all back, 6:30 p.m. live on Fox League.
That's next week. That's next Monday. It's all happening here on Fox League. The calendar has changed, hasn't it? No longer is it going to be just the All-Stars game and the Charity Shield. The season has been extended because people have got behind this in droves, the broadcasting of the pre-season games. And now they'll get one more chance here, Cronulla, to really bury the Bulldogs in this first half.
Again, that was the Hazelton-Hunt combo off the kickoff. Hazelton into and then Hunt just bent the line, found his front, and that's where the Bulldogs gave away the penalty when Brayley got out. So really dynamic 10-minute period here with Pangai Jr. off, that the middle forwards of Sharks have stood up.
There was a point, maybe at the midway point of the first half, Canterbury had most of the possession. Hines, intercepted. They needed that. Naden putting the foot down. Kennedy in pursuit. Kennedy hauls him in. But now it's Canterbury's turn. First time in a long time down this northern end. And it's shoveled out for Burton to Avarillo. Now Duffy, this is his scenario. Turning it into Shop. Shop got desperate. They still could have had a good 3 plays. But a little bit of panic from the young man.
Yeah, he didn't have to do that, young Shop, but bottom of your screen. Naden, look for Addo Carr. Where's the Fox? He was travelling on the inside, couldn't get the ball. But then when Dufty got it, we thought it was try time. The speed and acceleration on the outside, but Shop just should have held onto it.
So now, again, Shop really does load up. It's good contact, although Latalo got through that. Well, now the final play of what has been an excellent first half for Cronulla. 4 tries and a lot to like. Cronulla 24, Canterbury 6. Welcome back, Monday night pre-season football. That's a mouthful. Matt Dufty, his first 40 minutes in Bulldogs colours. Jake Averillo, he's not a new Bulldog, and he's got a new combination, and the signs have been pretty good with Matt Burton, Cooper Cronk.
Yeah, I thought he was okay in the first 20 minutes. You know, Matt Burton took a lot of the weight in terms of the kicking down that left flank, which has helped him. But then he was playing through the middle third, having Dufty set up on the right and Burton on the left, and he really looked comfortable going left with Burton. So look for the Dogs to try and do that now for the second half.
And here come the Cronulla Sharks. 4 tries. Nico Hines had a hand in certainly one of them. And a bright start from him here in the Shire.
And we've just seen the importance that Nico Hines has on this football team. One, through his performance, but then also leading the team out in the second half. No Wade Graham, no Dale Finucane, you know, he's on the bench. And Nico Hines, I just love the way that he combined with Trindle and in particular William Kennedy. The ability to go from east to west and swing quickly and get the ball to Nikora for that try. It was beautiful halfback play.
Plenty of Bulldogs who will appear in the second half that have tasted a fair bit of first grade. Don't write them off in this game. The likes of Joe Stimson, Jackson Torpenny, Kyle Flanagan, Bailey Biondi, Odo, Braden Burns. Not so much experience from Cronulla with the players primarily in the 20 jerseys, but a lot of ground to make up. And Royce Hunt, picking up from where he left off in the first half. Well, it takes how many? 1, 2, 3, 4 to bring him down. Looked like for a moment Braden Trindle tried to help as well to make it 5. To prove that he can still mix it with the big boys. And the signs are good for Royce Hunt. And then it comes for Hines. Guard here. That's his first run at the Canterbury line. He's been a provider up to this point. This is Tom Hazelton. He did some good things in that opening 40 minutes. So Hines looking for distance here. And O'Carr absolutely nowhere to go. That is a disciplined opening from the home side.
And Craig Fitzgibbon wants to get a look at a few of his players in different positions. We've got Ronaldo Mulatalo at left centre. Kind of Tracy's gone off. And Matty Kavalu, the Roosters recruit, comes on the left wing. So Craig Fitzgibbon's seen enough in the first half. He's now starting to mix with some combinations.
So a nice opening here for Canterbury with that penalty. Going to march it upfield. Mr. Vita Pangai. We wait and see if he'll return in this second half. With Brent Naden carting it up. So it was quite a dramatic opening 40 minutes. The Sharks open up that lead, but Hamlin Uele and Pangai Jr. on report. The leg injury for Wade Graham. Now Canterbury. Inside Sharks territory, Corey Waddell in his second year at the Dogs. Jeremy Marshall, King Devon. Now it comes out to Averillo. The deep ball for Dufty. And here is Braden Burns, the number 20. Dufty first receiver. Who's taking a catch and pass for Max King. On this last play, Vaughan. Well, there's no Burton out there, so Vaughan decided he'd be the man to put the kick in.
Yeah, normally that comes down to lack of communication, but I'm pretty sure Averillo wanted the ball out the back. He was there in position, and Paul Vaughan just getting his capabilities and ambitions mixed up there. he should definitely be handing the ball off to the halfback.
I love marching it up. Just tough and full form. Halfback doesn't like someone doing his job. There's a good contact, and that's surely a forward pass. Oh, no, it's play on. There's Katoa. Oh, no, there is Matt Burton. So still in the game, playing wide. And now the kick into the in goal. That couldn't have been weighted any better. Doing the little things really well, Cronulla, as we send it down to Jake Duke.
Yeah, boys, just from half-time, Craig Fitzgibbon happy with the Sharks' patience and physicality. Trent Barrett unhappy with his side's composure and how they got flustered at times. And you've got to ask the question, Dan, as you said, Matt Burton's still out there. How long do we see guys like him and Nicho Hynes stay out there? Not long till round one now. The Sharks have got the Raiders first up, and the Dogs have got the Cowboys in just over a week's time now.
It's going to be a big game, that Dogs-Cowboys game. They've been both near the bottom of the ladder the last 3 or 4 years. That's up there in Townsville. That's on a Sunday night, a rare time slot for that part of the world. That's Tom Hazelton going down there as trainer about to attend to him. Yeah, that's a big one, exclusive here on Fox League. Hazelton there in a little bit of trouble. We might see much more of him tonight. And they had to stop play. Yeah, they were only about 15 metres away from Hazelton. So the inevitable pause. So he's down low. Oh, jeez. Oh, my goodness. That's Ockenbaugh.
He was dusty before that. And Hazelton's been, I thought he's been impressive tonight. Like, he's been really physical. He's been putting his hand up for those kick-off carries, which is one of the hardest carries in the game for a front rower, and got into Jack Hetherington at one stage there with some physical defence, but he's dusty, and that Ockenbaugh lash out didn't help his circumstances either.
So no action on that, on the involvement thereof Ockenbaugh. So we'll continue here. And that's Franklin Pele, who is so big and so strong. They told him last year, stop going to the gym. You're actually getting too muscly. He's trimmed down. And looks in terrific shape.
He's going to line up on this left edge back rower in front of Avarillo.
There's Hynes. Hey, lost that one. Burns misfired rushing up to begin with, but made up for it.
Yes.
It's the first error from Nicho Hynes.
I was just about to say that. He's had some really class touches, Nicho, and overplayed it there, just trying to promote the ball and knocked it on. So with a bit of stop-start nature here, you know, for the game, the rhythm of the heat has taken out of the contest. The physicality of the Sharks was one of the really impressive parts up until this point.
You can see the new construction. The northern end, the left of your screen, will be the new Leagues Club. So you're going to have some great viewing there. You can have a schooner and maybe have a slap and then have a look at the football. You can do it all. And to the south, that's going to be a hotel. It really has become its own city here, the Shark Park facility, as Ockenbaugh holds onto it.
Sounds like you've already reserved a seat, Dan.
There'll be a lightning link pressed up against the glass. As comes down here. Gamble responsibly, kids, as Burns put on his back. Now Vaughan. I don't know how they count those fans. So if you're watching the game, you're officially an attendee. Anyway, nice problem to have. So here's Marshall King for Dufty. Dufty. Well handled by Trindle. Now it comes to Burton. This might be his first touch of this, second touch of this second half, and he almost went through. So it's Avarillo putting the kick in here. And, oh, Naden got there first. He's lost it forward.
First knock on here. Last tackle, handover.
So it does seem in this second half, Burton playing a more passive role. Averillo the more dominant partner, at least from the first 6 minutes anyway.
And that was a set kick there. It was Averillo setting it up back on the inside for Brent Naden. Naden called it from the short side, wanted to get up one-on-one with William Kennedy. So Averillo, nice little touch there, gave Naden the best chance. But as you said, Matt Burton sort of taking himself out of the contest, and Averillo keys to the city.
Gee, the sun's out. We haven't seen this in Sydney for weeks, it seems. A beautiful afternoon in Cronulla. Hines. We're back here for Ramian. Sharks' #1 offloader. He's happy to... Oh, no, he does get the offload away. And now Brayley. Canterbury caught out there. That offload was so late. Hines going to switch the play. The floater out for Wilton. Dummies to Trindle. Then Mulatalo set up a try in the first half. Oh, Hunt again. They can't get him to ground, but at least they get him held, the Dogs defenders. Good set. Last tackle. And Dufty gone. Dufty gone. Did well to hang on to it, but that's terrific control from the home team yet again.
Yeah, it is. We've spoken a lot about Nico Hines and William Kennedy. Young Brayley's had some really good touches. Yeah, he's reacting off the offloads. He knows when there's a quick play the ball. He knows when the ruck's blown. And he looks set for a big season. There's a lot of talk around those halves and the new recruits for the Sharks. Maybe Brayley just feels more open this season, doesn't have to worry about controlling the middle of the ruck, leaves that to Dale and Nico, and he can just react or play the balls that he sees.
Plays as many minutes as anyone really among hookers in the competition. Pengai back into the game. Yeah, Brayley, only 4 times last year he did not play all 80 minutes. So here's Pele. Oh, look at this. He's going to skittle them.
Look at that.
And poor old Braden Burns was the poor bugger standing in Pele's road. Yeah, they love it here at Shark Park. That's as loud as the crowd has been.
He was from the back fence.
So they're murmuring here after that run. As Hunt playing on the edge on this occasion. They stick to the right. And, oh, great catch. Oh, what a catch. Matt Burton at third slip. Now, Naden escapes Pele. Look at this. Boom.
Oh.
And then the finish here. Burton. Oh, wonderful catch. No points in this second half with now the 10 minutes gone. Thompson. Excellent first stint from him. Good start to this second half with his first run. Now, that's a towering kick and it's a wobbler. But Kennedy is about as safe as it gets among fullbacks. Good line of Canterbury defence.
Yeah, that was a great catch from Kennedy. That was a good kick there from Dufty. And Kennedy was up for it. So this is a bit of a contest here for the Sharks to muscle up and start gaining momentum. But on the other side of the field, we've just seen Pengai Jr. being back into the contest. So let's see what his reaction is to his first half performance.
Pele is hanging around the ball. Come on, give the crowd what they want. Bravian. Tidy run. So now Colquhoun up to halfway. Completion rates will be 21 from 25 after this kick is put in. The challenge there for Corey Waddell. Play on as now Nakora onto Katoa. Inside Naden. Needs to get it on. And just takes the tackle. But they're going to go again here. Contact from Waddell. So the late call coming, Katoa realising he didn't have to throw him. Hines at the line, then Trindle out for Kennedy. On it goes Mulatalo. Oh, yes, sir. Ronaldo Mulatalo playing one in from the wing and still just as dangerous.
I know his name's Ronaldo. It was a Ronaldo celebration when he put the ball down too. But it's just a slick movement to the left-hand side. Look at the combo work from Nico Hines and Trindle. Kennedy injects himself. And then Craig Fitzgibbon moved Ronaldo Mulatalo to the centre to start this half. Wants to see the man showcase his skills from the centre spot. And right there, watch this. Gets on the outside, speed to Burn, physical for Burns, and slams the ball down. I think Craig Fitzgibbon has a little bit of an insight that this kid may be able to be turned into a centre. He's got the size and physical capabilities, and he's just showing that there.
Yeah, that is a Ronaldo celebration. I suppose if you're called Ronaldo, you can get away with it. The Kyrgios Ronaldo celebration caused some conjecture down at the Australian Open, but he's got an inside running. This Ronaldo. 40 first grade games, 27 tries. So really should be getting to that point where he is at the peak of his powers. Another easy one here for Hines as the dozens of kids wait behind the goalposts. It's getting ugly, this score for Canterbury. They had a draw last week in Newcastle. Go. Oh, what a catch. There we go, young man. And like a little rover, just sharking them. Good catch. So here we go, Franklin Pele.
A couple of crowd pleasers here, Dan. Pele into Burns, just rattled his cage. And a couple of tackles later, the speed and the athleticism. Again, into Burns, gets through the tackle. So the Cronulla Sharks supporters up and about for a couple of young stars.
Well, Pele is on the left side here. Let's see it again. Come on, we're in the entertainment business. Nico Hines getting a nice round of applause. His night coming to an end. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Hey! They handle that well. They handle that very well. Hetherington there. Braden Burns. He stood his ground that time, Burns. Good for him. The brunt of the first run. Now this is Ikavalu in the unfamiliar 14 jersey. They did that well, that duo. Colquhoun, balls are forward, that looked pretty fine. Fafita, back for another stint. Now, Jesse Colquhoun had a big season in Jersey Flegg, won the Coaches Award last year. Pele a bit flat-footed there, still hard to put down. It's another peroxide player there for Canterbury, Brandon Wakeham in the 14 jersey. Plenty of time for Trindle to get this kick high and deep. Ockenbaugh. Oh, this has been the theme of the night for Cronulla. The chasers have been relentless.
Yeah, not giving the Bulldogs backs any momentum, pouncing on them as soon as they catch the ball and trying to get physical, trying to lift them up and take them backwards, allowing their defensive set to get off to the most powerful start.
Addo Carr. Pretty quiet, but I don't think he'll be concerned in this pre-season encounter. There's Wakeham into the dummy half roll. Pengai. And there was the penalty, Pengai Jr. A couple of emotional players there, again, contacting each other with Fafita and Pengai Jr. Well, we've got Hines in cotton wool. We're soon to see Burton leave, or perhaps Trent Barrett might want to see a little bit more before giving Burton the early mark.
Yeah, I think they'll stay out a bit longer. They just want to see a little bit more cohesion, particularly with ball in hand, because they've only scored the 6 points, which was scored in the 17th minute.
Now Liddell powering over the 20. Now the Dogs have had more tackles inside the Sharks' 20 than the Sharks have had up the other end. Wakeham. Couple of decoys, Avarillo, Burton. Oh, delightful pass and a hard run from Naden, who storms his way to the line. There's the second try for the Blue and Whites.
And that's great work from the left edge. That's Matt Burton just knowing the strength of his outside players in Brent Naden. Long shift from the right side of the field. Burton gets it 2 passes wide, start drifting the crossfield and uses the big Brent Naden straight against the grain and just gets too physical for the South defence. But that's Matt Burton knowing the strengths and weaknesses of the players on the outside and using them up. Look at the big fella, just back against the grain. Hard to stop.
So this is, that's a good sign from Brent Naden. 37 games at the Panthers. Did play a final last year. He played in the epic win. Well, they were all epic wins for Penrith in the finals last year. He was in the Parramatta victory, 8 points to 6. Oh, no!
Checking it.
Oh, no! Well, he seemed to hold on to it the whole
just
time.
Reviewing if there is an obstruction in the lead-up.
Okay. Well, it's not the put down we're worried about.
One of the lead runners in front of Matt Burton, where they've stopped the Dogs defender to get across the hole that Naden's come through.
Is it Thompson?
It's contact and
What are we looking at? Pangai
Pangai
Jr.?
Jr.
Yeah.
Britain Nakora.
We're well educated. Once they get to this stage, it's usually denied, and that is the case once again. That's unfortunate because it was a terrific run from Naden.
It's a second contact on Britain. The way they reviewed it, takes Britain out of the play and they go back through that hole, which just creates it.
I went at his left shoulder.
I understand that, John.
They changed the rules, but...
Yes, getting a little cranky to do that. By the way, unfortunately, there won't be
Keep coming, guys.
a game following this with the horrible weather in southeast Queensland. The Warriors Titans game is off. They were going to play at a closed stadium, Seabus, but unfortunately the weather conditions were too much. And I mean, that doesn't really matter. Obviously, the concern there is the health and safety of everyone who is affected. There's some horrible scenes and the death toll rising, and geez, it's been tough going, and that's a knock on there. And on a less important scale, Suncorp Stadium underwater like it was 10 years ago, 11 years ago, and it's going to take some effort to get that ready for a game in 11 days when the Broncos take on South, but obviously not the highest priority right now. So Colhoun there putting that one down. So this is it, the last pre-season game. And Kyle Flanagan waiting for a chance in the 26 jersey.
Down we go. Stay in the teak, stay in, ball in. Break.
Hetherington in the second row now. Frankham for Waddell over the halfway line. All his runs tonight have had purpose. That's his fifth. Jackson. Avarillo. Pangai Jr. against the grain. Oh, shakes off Royce Hunt and lets him know about it and gets the offload. That's the good Pangai Jr. Now it comes away to Ockenbaugh. Dufty first receiver, just happy to catch and pass to Wakeham. Now Avarillo gets it onto Burton, and this time Naden cut down. That was Ramian all over him. Two big centres. Back it comes for Jackson. It gets the Dogs to the end of the set. So here's Dufty on the run. Little chip kick. And it's a Cronulla knock-on. So it's a rare result for the Canterbury side on the last tackle.
Now, this is an important set for the Dogs in terms of getting Matt Dufty involved in this game and bringing Matt Burton as well. They've had limited times. Brent Naden went through before for a disallowed try. So they just need to find their rhythm. It's not necessarily about scoring points. It's about getting that cohesion, getting that connection. So when the play the ball is on, all the halves of the spine know exactly what's moving here. But this is Matt Dufty territory here. Scrum from the middle of the field. Use his speed on the outside.
So Wakeham will be locking this, and he's taking a little peek at Burton. Dufty, jumping left, jumping right. They'll have to do it all again. Well, they've got some options here.
Formed up properly. Let's get our heads in so we can get out of this scrum.
Let's see if they do the same thing again here, Canterbury.
Will, all the way in. Stay down, Brent. Ball in. Hold. Break.
Going right. No trickery there. Opens up the left side. Wakeham delivers for Thompson. Third year here in Australia. Now Averillo, double pump, and that pass was well read. Colhoun and Hunt all over Corey Riddell. Here's Wakeham, going flat. Jackson easily captured, although he's fighting hard. Back to Wakeham. Oh, okay, we have to do it all
What are we
again.
stopping for? It's tackle 4.
A bit of frustration there with that kick.
Yeah, just one. Braden, I'm going to need you and Captain Blake. Got significant whiplash here, we?
Whiplash?
Hey,
It's not about your legs. You can't get that far, can you?
it's been reviewed. It's still on that set, okay? It's late. There's whiplash. It's on report. You go.
Okay, more drama here at Shark Park.
When Averillo went into the line before, he set up the ball play.
So can you go the whole set and then
He ended up with a shirt full of sore ribs. It was Hamlin Ueli. The touch judge got a glimpse of it. It rattled Averillo. Here it is. He's passed the ball back inside.
Is it that late?
Oh. It's the whiplash is right, but it's a football movement, but I don't think he'll be in trouble for it.
So, a reminder, it is 13 on 13. But Hamlin Uele won't be part of it for the next 10 minutes. Canterbury here with Thompson. On tackle 2. Lincoln fires it to Averillo. Burton's pass put down by Pangai Jr. Oh, hello. Now Cronulla. Steaming downfield here. This looks like Metcalf. Already inside Canterbury territory. Kennedy to Trindle. Comes out now. Tracy. That's Wilton. Still yet to see Lockie Miller, who played in the Rugby Sevens in Tokyo. He is on the field, so we should see him with ball in hand shortly as the changes being run. There's a starter in the Cora. Only midway through the count here. Jaden Beryl is the dummy half. Braden Trindle is the kicker. Jaden Ockenbaugh is the man that bats it out the back.
That's great control from the Sharks. They've done this all day. There's the error from Tavita Pangai Jr. He gave up on the chase. At Metcalf, who is quick. We've seen him light up the Sevens a couple of years back. And the Sharks just fall into good rhythm with some of the new players out in the field. Trindle puts a ball on the deck. Matt Dufty nowhere to be seen. And Ockenbaugh has no other choice but to knock it out.
But Burton has been on from the get-go. And remaining out there. Tavita. Targeting Burns and Avarillo. The pair make the tackle. Beryl as it comes through here. Tracy, a chance! Ball short. Seen that a few times over the weekend. The players having a real lash at reaching out and falling millimetres short. That one not really that close.
A little short side. They had the numbers. Fullback was in the line. Connor Tracy, he was a try-scoring machine last year for the Sharks. And they tried to get that short side raid, had a bit of space. Connor Tracy just reached out and knocked it on.
Good versatile player to have in your squad. Obviously, he can play centre, wing, 5'8", and even a bit of dummy half off the bench. He did all of that in 2021.
Head right in. Thank you. Ball in. Andrew, break.
So still plenty of star players out there in this last hit out before the 2022 NRL season begins. That might be Max King. It is returning after a brief stint in the first half. So Wakeham is the dummy half now. As Thompson well handled. Jackson. Avarillo on to Burt. Here's Naden. Good battle with Ramian, and Ramian all over him on this occasion. Burton to Avarillo again as Jackson out to Thompson. Here's Hetherington trying to run over the top of Trindle, who holds his ground. Trindle, by the way, gone for the first couple of weeks of the regular season. That jersey set to be worn by Matt Moylan. Or Hetherington's hurt. Ball finding the in goal, but this is Miller. And gets out comfortably. Jake Duke will certainly keep an eye on Hetherington, but watch there, and he's come straight off, so that'll be looked at. They don't have many players unavailable, Canterbury, but two of the three are second rowers. Raymond Faitala Mariner, Matt Doorey. That might have falconed off Wakeham, who says he didn't play at it. Well, the referee says, I think you did. More tackles coming here for the Sharks. Yeah, so Raymond Faitala Mariner's gone until about round 4, round 5. Matt Doorey's gone until about July. And Corey Allen, another player unavailable. He's going to miss the first month of the season. Colquhoun straight down the middle. And Burrell was waiting, but Colquhoun happy to take the tackle. And Burrell on now to the sharp Luke Metcalf. He was dynamic when he played first grade last year, late in the year. Nowhere for Teague Wilton to go here. Fafita at first receiver. Trindle, it's shallow. It's still a problem, but Pangai Jr. falls on it.
Yeah, Trindle's been pretty good with his boot today. A lot of repeat sets and some attacking kicks. And that one ricocheted off to wrong-footed Matt Duffy, and the Sharks had a chance to pick that up and score another try. As fatigue starts setting into this contest now, players dropping down.
Yes, and let the record show, Josh Jackson fell on the ball. It's like twins, only their mother can tell them apart. Jake Duke.
Yeah, as we see Josh Adokar just get stretched out there for a bit of cramp. The word from the Bulldogs sideline is good on Jack Hetherington. He was just cramping badly apparently as well, so no major issues there.
Thank you, Jake. So we might see a bit of that actually in the next 12 minutes. Oh no, Shoddy play the ball. Well, Peter Goff, this might be pre-season. He's in mid-season form.
It's his second one today. He got Jackson in the first half and again there.
By the way, can I just say they're good-looking jerseys for Canterbury, but the red numbers, come on. They're a
bit hard to spot.
But anyway, that's first world problems. There they go. I don't think I've ever seen red on a Bulldogs jersey. Nice to see the old logo, though, on the front of the jersey. So, Frank Montpellier with a full set to play with here. Burrell, Vita, who started the game, was happy to take the tackle. Now there's a chance out wide here. Addo-Carr was well in off the wing, but he scurried across in time, and now Katoa might have a cramping problem. Line ball pass there. No, not quite line ball. It is forward. So mistakes, not surprisingly, starting to creep into this contest.
That's one of the aspects of Josh Addo-Carr's wing play, is that like no other winger in the competition, his speed saves him a number of times. He could be infield and you think you're half a chance, throw the long ball or a kick, and next minute he's out there like lightning and making a good tackle like he did then on Katoa. So while he can score tries, Josh Addo-Carr can save a lot as well.
And Katoa really had no chance, even though he thought it had opened up for him. Jake Duke.
Yeah, it hasn't been the night the Bulldogs wanted, but there is still plenty of promise for this Bulldogs side this year, and you can join the pack today. There is a membership option for every fan, whether you want to watch games in the stadium, from the comfort of your couch at home, or through being a foundation member. There is a package that suits you. For more information and to join the pack, go to bulldogs.com.au/membership.
Thank you, Jake. Matt Burton is off. They play 5 games at the Olympic Stadium, Canterbury, 4 games as home games at Combank, Parramatta. They go to Belmore. Always great when the Dogs go to Belmore. There's a Magic Round game, which is a nominal home game, and they're taking a home game to Bundaberg. So a few home venues for the Bulldogs in 2022. So Burton, on what's been a pretty unhappy night for Canterbury, they can be well pleased with what they've got there, and Matt Burton at least can see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely. I thought his first sort of 20 minutes, 30 minutes were, you saw glimpses of what Matt Burton is going to bring to this Dogs attack, particularly with his kicking game, his injection down the left-hand side. Now, it's up to Matt Burton. He's got some strike outside him. Got Naden, Pangai Jr. and Addo-Carr. It's up to Burton to really ice those combinations, because that could be an electric left edge.
So here's Vaughan. That should get him over the 100-metre mark at around 12 metres a run. So pretty tidy stuff from him as Avarillo goes deep. Dufty draws and passes. Burns to Ockenbaugh. Excellent commitment from some of these reserve Sharks players. There's now Wakeham. Goes Waddell. Oh, the tap one from Naden. Addo-Carr, this is his first. Oh, it's taken off him. He didn't get it down anyway. Forward pass.
While it was a no try, Dogs fans had a little bit of a glimpse of some of their superstars then. We just saw Matt Dufty dance on a centrepiece here on the right-hand side to create for Ockenbaugh, and then coast to coast, entire width of the field, Naden tip-on to Addo-Carr was forward, but the ability to go from one sideline to the other and still be a threat on both sides is something that Trent Barrett would have liked out of that sequence of plays.
So while it hasn't been their night, it's a pretty enticing opening to the season. Cowboys they'll see as winnable, so will the Cowboys. Good chance for both those sides to get off the mark with a win. And then Brisbane in round 2. So an opportunity for Canterbury to at least get off on the right foot. Jake Duke once again.
Yeah, don't forget, Dan, Fox League's 2022 season preview kicks off on Monday, March 7 at 7:30 p.m. Get your gauge on where your team where your team will finish as we count down to round 1. Plenty to run through after what we've seen in the trials. It's getting very, very close, Dan.
All right, thank you, Jake. You part of that, Coop? The pre-season preview?
I'll just have to check my schedule.
Here's Burrell onto Fafita. See. Never ask a question without notice.
I might be now, Dan.
No, I'm sorry about that. I'll buy you a coffee. As that is an excellent kick. Not quite getting to the 20-metre line.
Play the ball middle.
I should point out, Brisbane, I don't want to upset Broncos fans, they'll see that game in round 2 as winnable for them too. So one of those 3 teams, Cowboys, Broncos, Bulldogs, should get off to a good start as they play each other. But you see there, then it gets a bit harder. Then it gets a bit tougher. Manly, Melbourne, Penrith.
But it's important for the Dogs to start well. Mountains 1 and 2. You know, with their new recruits, they need to defend well. They need to have that spark, because then it's going to get hard. They need to get confidence from those first 2 weeks of this competition.
And there'll be a Good Friday game against South, I would imagine, not too long after those 5 rounds. So, a testing period there. It's a good start of the season in general. Penrith Manly, what a wonderful way to open 2022. There's Max King. There's, in fact, no, that's Kyle Flanagan in the 26. See the red numbers now on the next play, Vaughan. It's Flanagan there, buried. And on the last, Khalid Boujib puts up a testing kick. And a good catch. Denai Lualua there with the take. So some youngsters now getting a taste of it in these closing stages. Canterbury will end this pre-season period with a loss and a draw. Cronulla, they were beaten last week by Penrith pretty handily, but their best players on display. The signs are very, very good. Ruben Rennie, that is the 21. That's the concern. Wade Graham gets a little tap on from Nico Hines as they see themselves on the video screen. We reported it as an ankle injury, and Graham hasn't really had ankle problems. He's had a few other issues, but it's not an old injury from what we understand. He's had a left knee injury, a foot sprain, a hamstring strain, and a few other things. But if he has had an ankle problem, it hasn't been for a while.
We saw Craig Fitzgibbon in the pre-game talk about he wants to see the Cronulla Sharks do the hard parts of the game well today. That's what he wanted to take away from this performance. And I think he's seen that. The Dogs have only scored 6 points, low missed tackle count of 14, and their completion rate's been high. They've always been in that arm wrestle. So I think Craig Fitzgibbon takes a lot of positives away from this performance.
Flanagan had a little look. He saw Burrell bearing down on him. And we've got a penalty here for offside, it seems. So these Cronulla youngsters now get an attacking opportunity.
And there's another hard part of the game. Inside pressure on fifth tackle to a kicker. Some of the inexperienced Sharks have been well drilled in the preseason that this is the expectation if you want to play for the Sharks this year.
I think we're going to see that sort of look from Craig Fitzgibbon often in 2022. Emotionless. But they might have just found a good one here, the Sharks. It was controversial the way they ousted John Morris. He was quite popular here, but they decided Craig Fitzgibbon was the man. There's Royce Hunt. An excellent night from him. Baden Burrell. Franklin Pele. Doesn't quite go off the back fence the way he did in the with his first run. Burrell. Now, Metcalf.
Corey, stay square.
Quite muggy here in the Shire, and that was forward, so that comes to an end, that play, that set. It was 24-6 at the break when both sides had their best available players on show. Second half, it's got away from both these sides, but that's pretty much been the case all fortnight.
And the takeaways for Trent Barrett for the Dogs, I thought the first 20 minutes that they were holding their gloves up. Matt Burton had some nice touches. Avarillo was involved. But you've seen some spark from Dufty and Naden and that Carr, but the same must be said. The defence, conceding 30 points here today against the Sharks, needs to be the cornerstone of them moving up the ladder. They got some points there with those stars. There's a big shot. Big shot.
Braden Hamlin-Uele has just launched at Jacob Kiraz. Oh, Braden has been involved in a few little things tonight. That was a terrific shot. He hurt himself, though. He's just hobbling back now. So inside the final minute. Let's make it. Rajib. There's Josh Addo-Carr. Always popular with the kids. And there's a little short side play. Waddell going nowhere. Flanagan just distributing away to King. Now Flanagan on the last. Play ball here. Great Burns, and a very satisfying finish for Cronulla. They have only conceded the one try. If you're a Dogs fan, there will be better times ahead, but if you are a Cronulla fan, it might be time just to get a little bit excited about 2022 and a new era. Full time. Back at home and looking good. The Sharks 30, the Bulldogs 6.